Good morning. My name is Brooke, and I'm going to give a demonstration today on underpainting. Underpainting is something that I do on every single one of my paintings. The first thing it does is allow you to get paint on the paper, the paper is very sometimes intimidating to artists. So that's the first goal, is to get the paint on the paper. Second is to create secondary colors. So I use primary colors and make sure that they cross in a random fashion so that it actually creates depth. I really like the possibility of what that creates in the final painting. And one of the things I do, I know a lot about the colors that I use, and every single color that I use in a random underpainting is liftable. So that if I feel that I want something that's going to be a yellow flower and a great big glob of blue is on it, not glob, but a very transparent wash of blue is on it, I can lift it right back to the white of the paper.
Even like after you've painted the other?
Yes, yes. Now the first three colors I always use are very transparent and very liftable. They are also, they have an inability to go past 50% in value. The second triad are colors that are staining. They're not liftable, and they go from 50% to 100% in value.
So what are those three colors that you use that are the 50%, and how does a person know like which ones they should be getting for
I did a lot of studies with these colors before I chose them for my students, and those colors are Winsor Newton watercolor. They're probably the most expensive of all the watercolors, and they are Rose Madder Genuine, Aurelian, and Cobalt Blue. So what I do is I take a red, a yellow, and a blue, and I make sure that what I do with those is cross them over each other. So I make secondary color. Anything that combines the three colors, red, yellow, and blue, makes a neutral. So the three colors together make neutrals. The colors separately are primary, red, yellow, and blue. The other thing I try to do is keep them all the same value. I want to make sure that one color isn't any brighter than the other, any stronger in value.
I find that somewhat hard to do with watercolors because you don't want to mix so much so it dries out, and it's hard to get exactly the same amount of water and paint that you have.
It does take some effort because water can be a real enemy. You know, it can be...
it's hard to get that same proportion.
Exactly. And a watercolor has three things to consider: the amount of water they use, the amount of pigment they use, and the white of the paper.
And the white of the paper.
So you've got all these things to take into consideration.
Now, why do you get it wet first, Amy?
Okay.
Is that just water?
Yeah, this is just water. And when I'm doing the underpainting, I don't want to see brush marks. I want it just to flow as much as I can, and I always paint upright, and I always check to make sure. Look at that wonderful glow of water on there. So the whole thing is as wet as I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with yellow, and this is called a totally random underpainting. And I want it to do what it's doing. I'm going to...
you want it to drip?
I want it to move. I want it to be all soft edge. And that's why the paper's wet. I love it when it drizzles, and that's a medical term, drizzle. Okay, that's about as much yellow as I want. Now I really want to make orange, but I want to have spaces available so I can make purple. I'm going to cross over here and look at that wonderful orange. And I love what it's doing. That's perfect. More orange. The more I pull it, and I'm actually going to end up making some neutrals, because when I get the blue in there and it crosses over both areas, I'm going to get a neutral, which I love. I mean, that just makes the jewel colors stand out even more. Here comes the blue. I definitely want some purple. See the gray?
Yeah. So now the flowers are going to be on top of this. You're not doing the flowers at this point. Okay.
No, this is just a very
totally
random.
background. Just a random background.
This is how I start every single one of my paintings. What I need to do is probably lie this flat, because if I don't lie it flat, it's going to continue to move on down
And
the
you
paper.
want it to stop now.
And I want it to stop. I don't want any more of that. So ultimately, the idea is starting with a random underpainting, creating secondary color, which is purple, orange, and green, is what I accomplished there. And then finally, to paint the demonstration painting on it is kind of what this presentation is. And you can see all those colors in there have created the depth that I really want to happen.
So are the colors peeking through like that large flower? Or that's your underpainting?
Yes, that's the underpainting.
Do you sometimes paint like the flower over the underpainting? Like would
Sure.
you add color?
Oh, absolutely. This pepper, gigantic pepper, you can see some of the underpainting under it. I don't know if you can see the red in the green here, but this underpainting really, to me, makes this piece alive.
It does, especially like the white areas, like in the tablecloth, or
Yeah.
yeah, because otherwise it'd just be like a flat
Right.
white. Yeah, it brings so much life to it. Oh, I like that.
I wanted to show you this also because this is an underpainting I did that is not random. In other words, I didn't just go all over the place.
Yeah.
I really wanted to confine it to some of these areas in here. And I just love some of the colors that have stuck out. And I honestly am not sure yet what I'm going to do with this background. But I do know that I love some of the things that have happened to it. I hope you've enjoyed this little session and this little in-service. And please come and join us in our Art Presence Arts Center Gallery. At the present time, we have an abstract expressions show going on that is extraordinary. So please come. Thank you.